Not exactly a hot take here, but Patrick Mahomes is very good at football. How good? Well, you could argue he's on track to become the best player of all time. I mean, you look at his first 6 seasons in the NFL, but really 5 seasons. I'm not going to pay too much attention to the one game he played in 2017. His first 5 seasons in the NFL, we've never seen a quarterback come into the league and start off this strong. We've never seen a quarterback win multiple Super Bowls and multiple MVPs in their first 5 years as a player. If you look at his PFF grades, 4 out of those first 5 years, he's posted a grade of 90 or better. You compare that to someone like Aaron Rodgers, he's only had 5 seasons in his career where he's had a grade of 90 or better, and he's obviously played a lot more years. And in fairness to Rodgers, he's had a good chunk of like upper 80s grades as well. So, if we made the cutoff differently, it wouldn't be nearly as bad. But still, it just kind of goes to show how dominant Mahomes has been. If you look at Brady, he's had a bit more of those caliber of seasons, and unfortunately, we don't actually have the beginning chunk of his career according to PFF grades, but you do still see, even with all of this, really he kind of came into his own actually kind of in his late 30s and then early 40s when he had the stretch where he had 6 out of 7 seasons of a above 90 grade. Mahomes is doing that right out of the gate. So Mahomes is basically doing Brady's peak, but immediately. So I think the question kind of has to be asked, what is Mahomes' ceiling? How good can Mahomes get at football, and can he be the GOAT? And maybe could he be even better than the GOAT? What's happening here with Mahomes? Well, I made a video with a similar topic, although kind of a little bit differently, where I just sort of compared Brady and Mahomes' careers, as they started, kind of talking about how, they both potentially could be. I made this chart in that video, which, as you can see, is a very high-tech chart. I mean, this chart, my graphics department worked, countless hours on this, incredibly detailed chart. But the idea behind it was that, the black line is going to be Brady's career, kind of his legacy. If you view like legacy points, like that's how much he racked up, where it kind of started a little bit slower and then continued to grow. Whereas Mahomes, what he's done is the red line, and then the blue line is what he would, if he continues playing that well, where he would end up. So he could end up ahead of Brady by the time it's all said and done. The question, though, is will he continue to play the rest of his career as dominant as he has done the beginning of his career? Which the answer is possibly. And again, what we're doing today isn't saying what I think is going to happen, but what is the potential highest upside for Mahomes. This is Mahomes' average season in the NFL. This is what he, on average, has done. 4,791 yards, 0.4, and then 38.4 touchdowns per season. That's what those two stats stand for. Yards per season, touchdowns per season. And it can be a little misleading in multiple different directions, these stats, because, again, one thing that is just very difficult talking about bulk stats is that it's gotten easier to throw the football as we've gone along, right? I mean, passing stats are just way up now than they ever have been, where you look at these mediocre quarterbacks, their stats would be like, Hall of Famers 40 years ago, right? That's just kind of how it works. So comparing, even 20 years ago when Brady was and Rodgers and Manning were playing, a little bit unfair to compare that to Mahomes and how he's playing now. But still, it's worth noting, and it's also, I think, fair to say on the other side, Mahomes is going to, that yards per season is going to continue to go up because now he's playing 17 games a year, and, probably both of these stats will continue to go up because you assume it will continue to get easier to throw the football as, the NFL loves passing. They're going to make it easier and easier and easier to allow those stats to continue to go up, so that might actually end up being below what his career could be. But let's just say for now that this is what he does. Every year he plays in the NFL, he throws for exactly 4,791.4 yards and 38.4 touchdowns. I don't know how he's going to throw 0.4 touchdowns every year, but let's just assume that's what he does. This means that he would be 40 when breaking the overall passing yards leaders and 38 when breaking the touchdown record, which is, old for sure, but not necessarily ancient. It's something that you certainly look at and say it's possible, but it still kind of goes to show how much of this is longevity based? How much of being the best quarterback is going to be longevity based? Just given, these are both Brady stats. Brady played till he was 45. So the fact that he would have to play till he's 40, even with the rules being today, kind of just goes to show how high the bar has been set for him, but that doesn't mean it's impossible for him to get there himself. As for a couple other records, if we assume he continues winning MVPs and Super Bowls at this same pace, he would be 42 when breaking the Super Bowl record and 37 when breaking the MVP records. So these all feel like difficult things, right? It kind of really sets into perspective how important it would be for him to play for a while, just as much as it would be for him to, play at a high level for a while, which, we'll have to see if he's able to do it. It is going to be so hard for him to accomplish all of these things. Like, is he going to continue to win 2 Super Bowls every 5 years for his entire career, which still means that he would have to play till he's 42 until he's able to win his, I believe actually that would only be his, that would be his 8th, which would finally break Brady's record. Is he going to continue to win 2 MVPs every year? People get tired of when someone continues to win MVP. Maybe it'll be harder for him to win his 3rd than it was to win his 2nd. But again, the question I posed here when I started this video was not, will he win? Will he be the GOAT? Or do I think he's going to be the GOAT? Because if you ask me, I don't care how good someone's first 5 years are. I don't care if they won a Super Bowl all 5 years. Okay, well, maybe that. But typically, as great as this start to a career has been, which it has been the best first 5 years in NFL history, it doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be the GOAT, and I would still bet against it just because it's so hard to do that. But is his ceiling the best quarterback in football? It is. His ceiling is the best quarterback in football, and what's crazy is that all he has to do is continue to do what he has been doing for the first 5 years of his career, for another 15 years of his career, and he would almost indisputably be the GOAT, and it would be hard to argue if he has the yards record, the touchdown record, the MVP record, and the Super Bowl record. How could you even argue anybody else should be the GOAT at that point? I don't know. Now, granted, off his rookie contract now, well, I still think he's underpaid at, $500 million for 10 years. I still feel like that's an underpayment for what he brings to the table. It will be a little bit more difficult for him to continue to win Super Bowls and even MVPs and stuff like that. He still did win the Super Bowl last year, so while he wasn't getting the most money at that point, as he will be getting in future years, it's going to make it a little bit tougher, but at the end of the day, he's still going to be, in the conversation, and his ceiling is literally the greatest of all time, which is part of why I have so much fun watching him, because we don't get to see too many of these guys come around too often, and so I'm enjoying it while I get to watch it. But yeah, those are my thoughts. What are yours? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from y'all, and of course, as always, thanks for watching.